Rocket science has been around longer than you might think, starting in New Testament times, albeit in a primitive way at the holiest period of the Christian calendar. It was ingenious mathematical timing guaranteed that Jesus didn't ascend prematurely like a rocket on a stick that Friday. It was 2,000 years later a plausible explanation for the ascension emerged when pensioners Tom and Tess decided to end it all in a way that was not as original as they thought. Sat sitting in their quaint old-fashioned 40s style front room, a 90-year-old couple contemplate impending doom. We've dwelt contented in this house for 60 years and more. Most of them were happy, excepting 3 or 4. Gazing at the blazing fire, each smilingly recalls frozen moments in old pictures hung around familiar walls. I've been thinking, said old Tom out loud to his adoring spouse, it's getting to the time we can't maintain our little house. I don't want to be a burden, and neither I think do you. So I've made a plan for an easy way out simultaneously for 2. You mean to enact a suicide pact? She responded with mounting concern. There's a growing trend toward multiple end for them lonely with nowhere to turn. But what about God's holy teachings regarding do-it-yourself demise? They say he gets very angry, not invited to supervise. You don't have to worry, my darling, we'll accomplish the whole thing with ease on larger than average helpings of cabbage and marrowfat peas. Neighbours worried enquire to each, have you seen old Tom and Tess? Constable breaks door down the quicker to access. Staggers back in horror at the smell and rasping sounds from a pair of bloated corpses levitating off the ground. After the embalming, the mortician and his missus completed the job on Tom and Tess, plugging up their orifices. Friends in pews at the crematorium, unaware of swelling methane in Tess and Tom's dead tums, were suddenly sent reeling when both as one burst coffin lids and shot up to the ceiling. Straight through a stained glass fanlight like rockets toward heaven, scared the ship from all aboard a passing 747. Down at the crematorium, the vicar's looking pleased, even though it looks as though he'll not get any fees. For as Tom and Tess leave scorch marks hurtling through the trees, he sits broadly smiling in the artificial breeze. Now certain of what tucker was served at the Last Supper, from which Jesus heartily ate, and shared with his disciples off a larger than average plate. Gets in touch with his local bishop on his mobile phone by text, excitedly sends a thesis of what likely happened next. Whilst Peter and Paul proposed a world tour, eating soup of the day and cheese, Jesus, planning an exit that would bring them to their knees, scoffed a bigger than average helping of cabbage and marrowfat peas. So if you want to spike convention and care to emulate, choose a luxury or alternate, cheap affordable rate. Number 1's the best of produce, organic and sure to please, or the Tesco everyday blast-off, supercharged with their own branded peas. The Committee on Global Warming, I hear, are now overwhelmingly keen to subsidise funeral expenses on condition we all go green. Burial grounds redundant, the future resting place is spinning round the Milky Way on the outer edge of space. Buy yourself a telescope and on Sunday afternoon catch a glimpse of Gran and Grandpa orbiting the moon. There's a small blue plaque on that quaint old house dedicated to Tom and his loving old spouse, I mustn't forget to mention. Donated by Richard Dawkins for busting the myth of ascension.